So yeah, sorry it's off. Every time I try and adjust things up here, everything shifts and locks up and stuff. But yet, then I got my draggy finger, it's like a draggy leg. I got draggy finger to compensate for it, or not compensate, but yeah, 87, 89. I worked on all those cartoons. Now I've got a whole nother thing that really gets into what was going on to get into those, but I worked on those after the really bad things down here. It was working on At Times Life's the Pits that slowly got me back up here. That it was something I had worked on not tirelessly. It's just something that it was like breathing to me. It's like, oh, go keep working on that, because I had this, not a sense of urgency, but a sense of this is something you need to do. So, say it like it is. Put it this way, it would be impossible to not have worked on those cartoons, or what I call cartoons. I tried hand-drawing cartoons, you know, the figures, and I had a couple characters. I mean, I drew myself, but in fact, Carolyn looked at what I had. I don't think I have any of that. Oh, my old Christmas cards. But I used to do this character of myself, and Carolyn looked at it one time and goes, "Oh, that's just like your brother. Is that who that is?" Gee, who's the favorite child? Cartoon character of myself is like, "Oh, that's Alan, your valedictorian brother that we love." Okay. All right, I gotta stop doing that Dr. Phil on myself. I gotta go back. Anyway, we'll get into that, but yeah, so At Times Life's the Pits. So I was saying that I came up with a meme last night, and it was like, I've got to do it. So that's my only meme. But I wanted to come up with, hold on. So yeah, we're just going through, and you can see where I had all the volumes. We won't go through them all, but they all had a little different color difference, and so you had all these, and you got up to volume 10. But, oh, okay. Well, apparently I guess I'm supposed to show this. Missed that note. But yeah, here's the typical. And the thing is, when I went through, obviously not all are that funny or things. So I'd get through, and it's like, well, I'm going to pick out, you know, the ones that I think will have some moderate degree of humor, and it lasts longer than I think, than the initial ha-ha. So I rated them, and then I pulled out all the, on a scale of 1 to 4 or 5 stars. I picked out all the 4 and 5 stars and made another collection of 4-star collections. But I kept, the takeaway from this is, after the really bad June 14th, 2010, the slow process to climb out of that dark hole was putting all these together, and that took about a year. But it was a mental timeout. But I was the one that didn't pay attention to the rules. So when you, okay, I just wanted to fill in a little bit more on how crazy the diagnostics got. That all of this times 40, mind you, that I would rate each one, and then on the CD cover for each volume, I'd have what it contained, if there's entertainment or family or job or whatever in the different categories. I'm not even sure if I talked about the different categories. Hold on. Yeah, you want to talk about nuts. So these were, each page was documented what it had, and the rating on 1 to 5. And hold, I'm just seeing this for the first time in a while. So I had every page. What I was trying to get at were the different categories I had. But here's another summary page. And it had, okay, the categories were animals, business, disaster, I can't remember. I don't know. Family, jobs, military, law, and police. Oh, that's what this, military, law, and police, politics, sports, and entertainment. And I forgot what that was. But it'll come. But for each volume, it had how many were included in that. Or these are total. Sorry about that. Those are total. Because I think somewhere I've got that 5,000 number in my head. And what the total was. That's the total number of pages of all the volumes. Maybe it's only 4,700. I don't know. But anyway, it's a ridiculous amount. Either way, it's just not normal. But, hold on. Okay, here so animals, business, disaster, entertainment, family, jobs, law, military, politics, sports, and then things. Things are just artifacts, where I had inanimate objects talking. Anyway, so yeah, here's the breakdown. But I had so many different diagnostics. This had how many were on each page, what was on each page. Oh, it gets worse. Hold on. So going back to this is how many pages each one had on one per page. So, 147 pages. Some of them were, 90, were manageable. But it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. And then I had to do it. Wow, okay, that's a lot. So then trying to figure out how much it costs to just print all this up and things. And then, and then I rated per page, or how many in each volume. Hold on. This would be the rating for each volume. How many 1 stars were in it, how many 2 stars, 3 stars, 4, 5. And, I was a harsh critic, so and then I averaged, I gave him a rating per, and then the worst one was 25. And that was the one with mostly kids. I just couldn't, I don't know. Kids are hard to do, I guess. But, see, my ratings were all below 4, well below 4. So, and the point of all this was for me to get my mojo back. I had to, I was down. And we'll get to why that was, but the air was out of all mental tires, physical tires. And I had to get my mojo back to what I used to be. And as knucklehead as it was, at least it gave me a focus and concentration to do something. And it was kind of promoting my own efforts that had I killed over in 2007, that all this would have been lost. And that's the resentful part of everything. But what I did was 1,000 times worse than what they tried to do. So don't get that out of perspective. But I tell you, I crawled into this and diced it up. One more thing. So my Delusions of Grandeur had each of these be put onto a CD. And on the CD, you had the cover and then the back, and it had which ones were included. And what else? Oh, they could also get the 1-page, 2-page per, or 4 per page editions, and to print them out. And I was going to take orders and send people these if they wanted them. But it's all set up that this was going to be the order form for it. That, I want 1 per page and whatever, 2 per page, 3. Then they could get a viewing of it. But then over here it had the rating. Over here it had, if it's mostly yellow, then mostly family. That's how much entertainment. That's how much jobs. So if it got highlighted over here it gave you a perspective of how much was included. Hold on. So yeah, each of these were broken down. So this is just volume 11 through 20. And each of them were broken down. And it used to drive me nuts that I used to kind of calibrate that all pages would open up to the same. And then it would have the breakdown on how much they would cost. And what I was going to do was sell these at cost. Or my big thing was cost plus 15% or 17% or 18%. I can't remember. Because there's something biblical about 17 or 18. Shows how much I know. But you know what I mean. But yeah, it was broken down so much. And then the CD covers is what I wanted to... I think this got covered or taped over or something. But, you know, I had the alternative covers. You know, these, I think, they were like Life's the Pits for Elevator, or I don't know. I'm not making sense. That was the French edition. The CIA Secret Service edition. I can't remember, but I had all these different, for microscopists, for the Fly edition. But I had probably 3 or 4 for the hard of hearing, for the blind. But I had all these covers of Morse code, whatever, for dog lovers, and dog whisperers. I think that was the elevator one. But I had all these different things set up. Oh, it was fun, but I don't even know what these are. But hold on, one more. So yeah, for the CD covers, well, these kind of, this doesn't really count because they're all one topic. See, they're all one topic. But these, they told you which volume they were in, if that made any difference. No. But it told you how much were in each volume and the overall ratings. So in the 4-star, these were the best of. The ratings were 4.308. But, 3 decimal points. But again, it over here had 39 pages, was the full one per page. And this gave you an idea of how many pages were from each edition. Kind of the same thing, for law. You just gave the volume of which they came from and how much were inclusive. So in this one, if you really like the content, then, volume 15 would be the one to go look at, to buy more. And I think, see, now, this is like 2 computers ago, but you could actually go to each one of these. Look at that. Oh my God. But like I said, to get my brain back to where it was before, I had to do this. And what kept me busy visually while this was going, because I can't just mentally dig into this. I think I was watching Hulu with the old Bob Newhart show, where I just watched in the, going back to that time period and everything. Oh, it was what the doctor ordered. My boss said, okay, we'll get you back, but this is the way it's going to go. And it did, but it took a year. All right, enough. We've exhausted enough. I just want to throw that in there. We'll see ya. When you're shown the rules, like I was shown the rules back in 2000, if you learn those rules and you don't abide by them, when the bad's going to come back, but 7 times worse than the first time. And I never got that, or I never saw that memo. And I got exactly what I deserved. But we don't need to. So 11 through 20. So yeah. then there's only one of these volumes that was really bad. And that was the one on kids. And I know there's one there. But the one on kids was just terrible. And I basically only kept one out of the whole lot. And it was a little commentary on pro-life stuff. In fact, we'll just do that and then get back to the main. So hold on. In fact, it was so bad, I guess I deleted it. But I know I kept only the one image. But yeah, I can't do a cartoon of kids for some reason. I don't know what to read out of that, but the little kid one, I had about 5 that I thought were kind of chuckle okay. But, so yeah, at times life's the pits. That just put the brain into a better room to deal with stuff instead of the bar room, which was at home with a bottle of wine, and not your average bottle of wine. And so yeah, I don't know what the stupid version. I think the stupid version was just one page, or maybe the whole thing and then the witty. I don't know. But moving on. Oh, and I guess there were a bunch of images that it was on the other computer, so I don't know what those are. I'll go back and check. So Fully Ado, that was the boat I raced on in 2000 with Ray and then Mick and Madness shared by 2. No, Madness shared by 1 person and then those that affect him. But technically, a French term in psychology loosely translated as a madness shared by 2. Let's prove that. Just don't take my word for it. So Fully Ado, University of Wikipedia, French for madness of 2, or shared psychosis, is a psychiatric syndrome in which symptoms of a delusional belief and sometimes hallucinations are transmitted from one individual to another. Right there, case closed, Your Honor. The defense rests to say that there's no God, and putting me on all these different boats with the boat names and Caprice, and I'm getting all flustered. Not flustered, just excited. It's just like, that's it. How can the guy go from Caprice when his life is out of control, and then he gets on Fully Ado? Oh my gosh. And then this is cool. Fully Ado is this winery out in California, and somehow, I'm pretty sure I know, that Larry was the owner, and we'll get to Larry. But in fact, I already have a little bit, but not enough. There's never enough to do to Larry, which he hasn't done to himself, but that's another story. So this is a winery, and somehow there's communication between the boat Fully and the winery, and they use a couple pictures from races or at the harbor, because Fully was not only had a reputation for being a good boat, mind you, that won quite a bit, that it had such a great name. It was a Grateful Dead boat. I mean, Larry and Russ. Russ Salzman was Larry's good friend and all around great guy. I don't want to say anything bad about Russ. He's the dude of dudes of dudes. And so mellow. There's a group called the Subdudes, and there's this song, okay, it's this group. I don't want to play around with the audio or something. It might be playing, but there's a line in this song where I've got all the time in the world, and it's like, I want to go to a fast food restaurant and order it slow. I screwed that whole thing up. But that was kind of Russ. That I want to live in this fast-paced world, but do it slow. And that line always remembers me of Russ. But anyway, we've got this in a soundtrack for another segment, but yeah. That was Russ. Living in a fast world, but doing it his way. Just kind of slow and easy. This is how anal I am. I realize I can adjust the thing that way because this drives me crazy when I know I had it a different way. So I don't know, I keep playing around, but that stuff drives me crazy when it's like, I want it just right. Anyway, not the point. So we got fully you do. Man, how much do you need to for a testimony to say, just the name of the boat I raced on from 99 to 2003 when I went from Ray to Mickey. And so yeah, then it got on Raven. Have I mentioned that yet? And of course, rebound has its own prophetic little meaning when first meet a family and bouncing back from grad school and everything. Oh my gosh. I couldn't have. Oh my gosh. It's like with Sweet Caroline playing. I would have been the guy that would have figured out when it was in the deck or the stack of songs to play and think, okay, now I got to keep talking for 40 minutes nonstop. And then when it gets to a certain point, talk about Carolyn, and then Sweet Caroline will come on. And I would try and time it, and it wouldn't work. And I'd go back. And the thing is, that's what ticks God off, was when he wants to do it his way. And I would be like, okay, I know what you want, so I'll try and recreate it that way. And he goes, no, I'll take care of it. And I just say, I didn't hear what you, la, 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 I don't hear what you're saying. And I would go and do something before reading the instructions, and I would try and do things that he was going to do. Oh my God. And yet, you get the benefit of hearing all the funny stories, but for me, it was hearing God in my mind, not a voice. It wasn't, someone coming in the room in the morning saying, I think you should make cartoons or something. No. It's what gets put on. Wow, where'd that come from? It's what gets put on your mind to accomplish. And the thing is, you gotta let it just go. Let it nurture itself. But keep going in that direction. Don't run toward it. Unless you get the feeling of you have to do it. But when I saw that apartment in Evanston with the loft, I go, I have to get it. So I did what it took to get it. But there's no path. Like the job in Houston at Marathon. I had to get it. And I kept pushing. It should have been, just relax. You've got it. The job at CTL, you've got it. Just relax. No, I got to make sure I get it. And I probably could have almost screwed that up. Where it's like, whoa, this guy really needs this job. Does he owe money? But I would push, instead of just saying, God's got to take care of it. So where I'm going with that is people that say, oh, I believe in God. I go to church and I believe in God. But do you believe he's there right now? Do you believe he knows every single thing you've ever done? When you say you trust God and everything and something bad happens, do you immediately think, oh, that was done for a reason? Or do you think, oh, I'm the one who did the thing that I made benefit from? Like I got the contract for the new house, or I did this, whatever. No. Oh my gosh, no. You guys gotta. And I'm not ragging on everyone. I'm not. It's just, I guess my enthusiasm is I didn't get it. And I had no one to kind of say that's the way it is. And that's probably a whole nother reason. But I kept getting the idea, and then, Jill, I'm just going to do it, and I'm sorry. And I owe her a jillion apologies. But when I had in my mind that that's the person I want to impress and share life with and make myself better for that person or that type of person, that I tried doing all these things and I tried putting myself in her presence. But you know what? When I was at Marathon and all that stuff was spinning around with Jake, Jill was not in the picture. August, when I'm starting to bounce back and forth between Chicago and Andrea came up and all that stuff, that's when I got the 3-page letter from Jill saying, hey, just was wondering what you were doing. Oh, and I didn't prompt her. She sent it to an old address, no less. Because I had moved 3 times. And I know I would have given her my first address, but she was married at the time, and I had nothing to do with Dallas. So by 1985, she's out of the picture. I'm running around being funny Australian cowboy and flirting probably and getting someone's attention. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, girl, touch, I can't handle it. So anyway, that's the way it works. And then, of course, once I get that Jill's there, then I screw everything up. I start making endless trips to Dallas. I start driving through, and well, some of it was fun. I don't regret that, but I kept pressing it. Okay, I'm getting all wound up too early. And I made coffee today. Oh, let's get through this. In fact, I need it warm up. Hold on. Taking that concept of trying to, it's almost like trying to create and fabricate a coincidence. And that's probably why I tried I'm going to be in Dallas, and if you happen to be around, that'd be great. So I was trying to make it seem like a coincidence. I was going to come through town, and if Jill wanted to get together, that'd be great. So I'm creating these situations instead of just letting God take care of everything. And those are what turned into a disaster. I mean, the natural thing was when I got that letter, I responded, and then she came back and said, well, if you're coming through the area, let's get together. So, I already had the plan to go move half the stuff up to Chicago in the bug and then fly back to Houston. So that's what when I stopped by and I got off the plane and she greeted me and bear hugged me, and I was like, oh, okay, go. Let's just go. I don't even know what, the previous 25 years were all about. So let's just go. But the thing is, afterwards, it was, I got commit to Chicago. I saw how her life was so established in Dallas. How does it work out? And, it just started unraveling from there. And then with Andrea and drinking and not knowing how to handle the situation, realizing I was too awkward for anything. And, if I can't handle just saying goodnight to someone, how am I someone that's married, I've been married? And, oh my God. But when I was up in Chicago, I ordered, on her birthday, it's in February, I ordered pizzas and sent a check ahead to the pizza place. She lived in Grapevine. And I had a pretty good rapport with the gal at the pizza place because she goes, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. So on her birthday, I had 26 written in pepperonis, and that was when I bought a star with her nickname I kind of gave her, and oh God. Sent her a thing with these penguins that I drew saying 1 in a million, and oh God. And then she got the thing saying, I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable. You know what? We're just kind of friends. And but this is 6 months of me hemming and hawing and throwing myself at her feet and not committing. Oh, that's the 47-yard line of Creepy McPherson. So, I don't know. I want to get back to this. But is it kind of making sense that I'm not in control? Even though I think, I made the decision to jump Caprice and go on Fully Do. Really? Really? You chose a boat name because you knew in advance that you were going to start liking this psychotic not halfway, full. Wow. Damien took over. Girl on the boat that brings back, uncanny parallelism to Jill. I mean, the flying thing, she went to Wisconsin the same time that I would have been there as a freshman. She was in engineering, and she said engineering and psychology, which I don't know. But, so it's like, and I would take that as it was meant to be. It was meant to be. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, where God's like, no, I'm going to put this person in to kind of see how you react to it. But I'm thinking I'm the one making these decisions. No, on earth as it is in heaven. Acting out on earth as they plan it in heaven. Does that make sense? He wanted me to work at Marathon. He wanted me to like these certain people. But I was to get the bigger meaning had I read the details of the contract he gave us when we were born. That was stamped on our brain. I don't think I've said that enough, but maybe I have. I don't know. No one said anything yet. Okay. So engineering, we're doing a little numerical analysis of it. Engineering, taking a billion things and getting one answer. Wrong. Or at least one person does. There are good engineers that are just good engineers. Pete at CTL, John at CTL, Bach, all those guys were good. Kevin, Carlton wasn't an engineer numerically. He was a political engineer, meaning he played the game. And rightfully so, he's exactly where he should be. He's a decent, straight-up guy, but he's a politic. He politics. He's apolitic. Sorry, Carlton. I love you. But we got into clashes because he kind of dipped into the field role when he shouldn't have, and I dipped into the political field when I know I shouldn't have. So our little exchanges were only because we didn't respect our own boundaries. But he did what he had to do. But he's one of those that were so nice about the way he did things that, just come out and just say what you want instead of being nice. But that's me. That was totally my immaturity. Anyway, he's a great guy. I like him. He deserves to be a manager, even though he doesn't have a PE. That's a whole nother story. Like the PE license, I mean. Whole nother story. Okay. Imagination, taking one thing and getting a billion answers, right? Right. Right? Question mark? Right? Okay. We get the rhetorical part. Move on. 1 times 1, no matter what, is 1. 1 equals 1. So that's like 1 equals 1 billion. It's like, it's me being silly, but play on words. So number 1, there's only number 1, and then there's no one, number 1. And the no one, number 1, is the self-professed, self-assigned, I look out for number 1, meaning me. And for people like me, it's like, no, there's only one, it's like the boss. To me, there's only one boss. There used to be another boss, but he's a man boss. And there's a musical boss, and then there's Hans, who is my boss. But they're number 1 job-wise, but they're kind of no one in the grand scheme of things. We're all no ones. And we're all kind of number 1 in our own realm. But there's only one number 1. And there's only one boss. Anyway, we know that. Engineer consulting imagination. Taking 1 billion things and getting 1 billion answers in whole, one at a time, all wrong. In a PowerPoint presentation, preparing for criminal and civil or family court on plan, stupid. Now, again, going back real quick, all this is going on when I get my confidence that everything's going to break. I sent Jim a bunch of letters that are going to get the ball rolling. They're going to find out what's going on, and they're all going to come back and say, look, Brian, we're really sorry. We'll clean up the mess we created. Okay, and I believe in Santa Claus. Actually, I do believe in Santa Claus. There is a Santa. There's a zillion Santa Clauses, right? Would you see at a mall? That's a Santa Claus. So how can you say you don't believe in Santa Claus? See, it's just this world's an oxymoron of stupidity.